The questioner says, what should I do if I missed a day of fasting in Ramadan without an excuse? In the beginning, would like to know whether it is okay or not to skip any day of the fasting of Ramadan without an excuse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So the word كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ indicates that fasting is obligatory. It is not optional. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is mandatory. Then afterward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ. When he says شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, he specified saying, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ. Whoever witnesses the month of Ramadan, he or she must observe its fasting. Only if the person is sick or on a journey, they will be exempt from fasting during the day of their sickness or days, or the day of the journey or days. Then afterward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. So you must make up a like number of days which you skipped due to the valid concession, the valid excuse of either being sick, of either being on a journey. These are valid concessions. Also, by analogy to that, a woman who is pregnant, a woman who's breastfeeding. So it is permissible to skip fasting, but you make up the same number of days which you missed, whether it is a day or more, whenever the conditions get better, such as when you become resident or when you heal and recover. Okay. So as far as skipping fasting of a single day of Ramadan without any of the previous valid excuses, this is actually one of the major sins. Al-Imam al-Dhahabi in the book of Al-Kaba'ir stated that fasting during Ramadan, whoever does not fast during Ramadan without a valid excuse, then that is even worse than adultery and drinking. He literally said, شَرٌّ مِّنَ الزَّانِ وَمُدْمِنُ الْخَمْرِ. He is worse than the adulterer, and not just the person who drinks, rather a person who is alcoholic. He is an addict. He drinks alcohol day and night. So this is how bad it is to skip a single day of fasting during Ramadan without a valid excuse. That leads us to another very important thing, which is whenever people give fatwa in this regard, they have to be very cautious. Recently, as I was traveling, I hear some people who are in different teams of basketball or otherwise. They said that we heard the fatwa says that if you're having a game, if you're playing, then you're allowed to skip fasting because this is a valid excuse. Of course, this is not a valid excuse. And of course, the person who gave you such fatwa does not rely on any reference. He only relies on his whim, on his hawa. And this is not a source of legislation anyway. This is only one of the means of deviation and taking people astray. So what is the solution now, since the brother said, I skipped one day of fasting during Ramadan without any excuse? You gotta repent and seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and cry for your sin. And you have to rush to make up that day. When I say make up the day, يعني to fast another day, even though it would not really be equivalent to the day which you skipped in Ramadan, but you still have to make it up. If the person missed it for a reason, he has to make it up. What about if a person missed it without a reason? That applies to the prayer as well. Somebody was negligent of his prayer, he did not want to pray, or he thought there are more important things to do, business, study, or a date, then he repented. You still must make up the days which, the prayers which you missed in order for your repentance to be accepted.